I needed to click OK, which I just did. Okay, welcome. The Foothills Neighborhood Association quarterly board meeting, December 12th, 2024. It is now 5:34 and we are now in session. We do have a quorum. And as far as recording, you're recording it that way, and I will take notes and others will too, I suppose. So we'll compare notes
Whatever
and you can
notes you
get
take
some.
are appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, the first thing that is on the agenda is the treasurer's report. So I guess we'll roll with Steve on that to get an update as to where we are at. Thank you, Steve.
Okay. Do you want to put that up or
Sure, let me
everybody's got a
get on my
copy of that?
screen share.
Not real
Hello,
excited.
Deborah, Renee.
I'm sure this is a riveting report that you folks will be.
Necessary evil.
Okay, financial. Well, let's see. Sorry. Oh, here we are. My computer is being slow. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Hmm.
I think you have to share your screen.
I know it's a different setup than what my private one is. Let's see. Zoom share.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Bingo.
So you may want to adjust that to full screen.
Are you getting a tiny one? Mine looks full.
You can't see the bottom of the page.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
there we go.
Is that good enough?
Perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot has not happened since our last treasurer's report. Um,
Here we go.
we really haven't collected any more dues. I think there's three transactions I'll talk about. We've earned some interest since uh, uh, since I guess it was September that we did that last meeting. Um, 6 or 7 cents a month. We're knocking a home run there. And that's just from the checking account. Um, there we spent $12 on the website at Squarespace, and so unfortunately, I did not get that switched over, Casey, and it got charged to me. So on the balance sheet, that shows up as a liability. I just haven't done the reimbursement yet. Um, there is one other thing that happened. Um, Casey sent me an email about $161 that Mr. Young, how do you pronounce his first name?
Z.
See?
Say again?
Is what I
Z.
understand. Z.
Okay. Well, Z Young spent $161.27 for some signage and a little bit of hardware used to put them up. And I went to write that check to him last week when I got that. When I opened the check box, I didn't realize it was all used checks. So I've had to order new checks, and that will go out as soon as I get that new set of checks. If he asks, that's what's happened.
Okay.
So this report doesn't include that. So the the expense is not shown in the expense line there. So net income at the very bottom, which doesn't show on my screen, um, for the year is $161 less. But if you compare the two, we're tracking pretty close to what we did last year. And we've actually um, spent a little more, for instance, on the social event, which we didn't have the year before, or the live board meeting. So um, uh, if you take that into consideration, we're operating very closely what we did last year. So the second page of the treasurer's report is just the balance sheet showing what is there. Um, so the CD is now up to 20,670.55. The 670.55 is interest earned, which should have showed up on the income statement. When it reached maturity in September, on the 29th of September, it reached maturity. So I just renewed it. The interest in the coming year is not quite as good. Interest rates have fallen a little bit, but still much better than we're getting in the checking account. And then cash in the checking account, as I said, should be 161 less than what's shown. And then liabilities is only $12 of liabilities. Um, so total equity is 28,275.56 less the 161 that gets written this next week.
Steve,
If there's it,
question.
yeah,
I'm just remembering this now. We're talking about the CD. Do you ever find out whether that is protected by the insurance, whatever it is, the FDIC kind of thing?
yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um, sorry, I should have sent a note out.
It's
I
okay.
remember you saying
It's
that.
in the minutes now.
Yeah. Um, so that's 20,000. How that works now, let's say we decide we want to spend 5,000 and we don't want more than what we have in the checking account. And so we need some of that money out of the CD. What happens there is we give up about a month's worth of interest on whatever we take out of there. So it's not like we give up all of that interest. It's just there's a proration that they'll use. Um, so that's my report. Any other questions? I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you, Steve.
Oh,
Do I have
there's
a
one
motion
more
to
item.
approve the,
I'm
oh,
sorry. There's
sorry.
one more item I need to report. I'm sorry about it. It's not related to the financials. Um, what I inherited from David was he had a laptop he was using that had his QuickBooks program and the data, the FNA data. The laptop uh, was a Windows 7 operating system, and you certainly wouldn't want to connect it to the internet. It'd be very risky. And a really, really old QuickBooks program. So what I did was I exported all the history just in data files so that at least the history is usable. And thinking that I would import it into QuickBooks, my copy of QuickBooks, which is the current copy, what I thought was the current copy, but as it turns out, Intuit, which is the company that owns QuickBooks, they have gone the subscription route. And the subscription that now costs, it's several $100s a year. It's like $400 or $500. So there are alternatives out there. There's a copycat called FreshBooks. There's some others. What I plan to do is bring to the board some suggestions, and hopefully I can do that in the next month or so. And we should put our books on something that's legitimate and it stays current. Unfortunately, all the software companies have gone to the subscription model, And so QuickBooks may be expensive. And what I thought I would do, I have QuickBooks that I use for one of the companies that I'm involved in, and I thought, well, I could just share that. But QuickBooks is also limiting each subscription to one company. So what can I say? They're greedy. Um, so anyway, I just to let you know that that's changing, and
Well,
it's not.
I think we could justify that as an expense for the association for a subscription.
In my point of view, I agree with you. But our books are so simple. Um, it seems like that's a lot of money for the books that we own. And so I'm hoping to come up with something that makes a little more sense. If we can't find anything, then yes, I think we should buy a subscription, and then I can take the current work that I have, migrate it to the current, and then slowly migrate all the history stuff when there's time to do that.
Okay. Well, once get a chance to take a look at that, Steve, we'll put that on the agenda, I guess, as new business for our next meeting.
Right. I meant to have all that figured out before this meeting, and I didn't get it done. So I'll get it.
Totally understand. Just get some projects morph into something a lot more than we ever imagined they would be sometimes.
Yeah. But all the records since I've been doing this, I what do you call it? Reconcile to the statements every month, and I've kept all of that stuff. So this is pretty much to the penny.
Okay, perfect. Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report? I have a first from Steve and a second from Diana. All those in favor, just raise your hands on the screen, please.
Aye.
Okay, it has been approved. All right. Thank you very much, Steve. Okay, let's move on to new business. Our 2025 annual meeting is last year we did it at Kit Carson. We did in person and Zoom. I would suggest that we try to do that same kind of format this coming year. I did check with Kit Carson, and we have two dates potentially that are open. One of them is March 9th, and one of them is March 16th. Unless, of course, we decide we want to do it earlier. Deborah, Renee, you have your hand raised?
No, that's me.
Oh,
I was trying to mute her because I think that's where the noise is coming from.
Oh, okay. All right. So depending upon, what the board thinks, I could reach out to Kit Carson and sign a contract for either of those dates. One thing that's really interesting is that March 9th is the first day of daylight savings time again. And we had a little issue with that last time. We need to expand the window that they're going to have the lock automatically open for us, so that we don't have to worry about what time that the doors are going to be opening for us. Yes, Steve.
I would suggest the time change would be one reason we would want to use the other date available. You said you had two dates in March?
March 9th or March 16th were the two dates that were available if we assume we want to do it again at Kit Carson.
Well, then my recommendation is if we do it at Kit Carson, we should use the 16th. And then
I'm not available the last 2 weeks of March. My kids, all my grandkids are on spring break, and I'm sure, even though we have no plans right now, sure something will happen. And I think, if we just let Kit Carson, we talk to him, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before the thing. And like you said, Kurt, instead of saying our meeting's going to start at 2:30, you'll say it's going to start at noon or so, or whatever window they'll let us have
Yeah.
it for. It shouldn't be that
Yeah.
early because we don't want it to be open to anybody. But, if we say 1:30 or just
Well,
ask them
I
how they're
could
going to
just get
deal
there
with it.
early and yeah. We could just sign up for an hour on each end in addition, and I can just be there. That's not an issue at all. So,
Yeah.
if
But what about other
if-
people? I mean, I
yeah,
don't have to be the one deciding on the 9th or the 16th. I mean, it'd be nice to have a quorum, obviously.
It's
yeah.
good for
Did you
me.
have something going on the 9th, Steve? Is that what you were saying?
No, no. My only reason for suggesting that is to avoid the confusion over time because of daylight saving time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm available on both dates.
Yeah. Well, we may go permanently to daylight savings time. Who knows?
Not by March 9th this year, I don't think. It's going to be a long process.
I think Steve's idea is great. The 16th. So throw it out.
Or we could do it in February sometime. I'm actually gone the last 2 weeks of February. So it would have to be earlier in February if we were going to do that in February.
Do you know the availability at Kit Carson, though?
Not for the month of February. I don't. I was asking, primarily. I know the 23rd of March is busy, and they told me that, but they didn't indicate any other dates except the 9th and the 16th. But again, I could reach out tomorrow. They are really responsive. If I don't know.
Well,
see
Kurt,
whether
you saying you'd be available on what, the 2nd and the 9th and the 16th or something in there?
Yeah. Well, the 2nd would actually be really difficult for me.
Okay.
I would have to be remote.
What
Because
about
we're
other
just getting
people?
back. We're going to Belize and Guatemala. How about
Nice.
other folks? Yeah.
The 9th works of February.
Both days work for me so far.
Same. You pick a date, I'll do my best to be there.
Yeah, the
Okay.
9th
Right.
works for me.
So, yeah, why don't we just let it sounds like, we have the 9th is working for most folks, at least the quorum that's here and other folks. So even though it's daylight savings time, people have gone to daylight savings time, and again, I'll make sure that the window that we contract with for with Kit Carson is adequate to cover all the time that we need, so the door is open and we can get set up. We don't have a big rush then, so why don't we just do that? So I'm going to put down.
The 9th. The 9th.
Are you okay,
March
Casey?
9th, right?
Yeah, no, February works. Anytime in February works for me, at this point. If the 9th isn't available, it might be but the problem is the 16th is in the middle of the President's weekend, and so I don't know if that affects people.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect me,
Yeah,
but
that's
Yeah. Well, my only
That's-
concern and God knows how the weather goes, but February, it seems like usually we have more snow, maybe make it hard for people to get to come or whatever. It's just a thought. I mean, it's a minor one, but of course, last year, March ended up being really snowy. So,
yeah,
Can be.
spring skiing is the best.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter to me if there's 5 feet of snow. I'll get there. It's not a big deal, but I just thought maybe some of the older folks, it might be a little harder for them to get there. So just a thought.
Okay, why don't I contact Kit Carson if I can get a contract signed for March 9th in the afternoon? Why don't we just lock that down and just have that
Okay.
be our annual meeting? if that's okay with folks. So do we need to have a vote on that? Just to see a show of hands
Works for me.
that's a good date, I guess. Yeah, it looks like
I'm fine.
we're pretty good.
The
All
good
right,
news,
thank you.
most everybody's clock is set by internet anyway these days. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Well, maybe
except
you
maybe Kit
techie types
Carson's.
are, but
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. What else do we have? We are also, of course, going to have elections next time. We do have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 openings on the board. Myself, Steve Hicks, Casey, Jennifer, and Alexandra. Our terms end. Hopefully, all of you would consider, staying on the board again. I would welcome that, but we do always, try to get new folks too. I know Shannon and Wayne, you're just brand new in the neighborhood, but again, when we get together this holiday, why don't we just chat with neighbors and let them know that we just had our board meeting and that we're soliciting new board members that we're going to elect in our March meeting. And the more the merrier. We can any of us can fill a lot of multiple roles, and if we're not on the board, we could still fill a committee position. We have a lot of active committees that are doing stuff, and others that may or may not do stuff that we need folks to fill in on. But please, talk it up with your neighbors and let them know that we're interested in board and executive committee members. So please, do that if you can over the holidays and anytime leading up to, I guess, our annual meeting. We do want to just quickly review our committees page. I have that up on my other computer here, and the communications committee. That manages email communications and so forth to the FNA neighborhood. She develops, maintains the website. We got Casey and Paul. Casey said that yes, she would be open to continuing to do that, but again, any other board member is more than welcome to.
Did I say that, Kurt? What did I say? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, you were talking secretary. If anybody else wanted to be secretary, that
Yeah, if anybody else would like to do secretary, it's a big job, but I would love to cultivate somebody to eventually be doing that.
yeah,
The maintaining the property spreadsheet is kind of tedious, but it's sort of something I only do maybe like 3 times a year to go through the 400 whatever and just match it up with the assessor's page and make sure I didn't miss any house sales or whatever. And that's just my obsessive compulsive, approach to that kind of thing. But if somebody else wants to sort of take over the email communications or, answering folks who write to me about all kinds of things like, recommendations for architects or, what about nobody's picking up the dog poop? I mean, it's just everything. It's everything that comes in. And if you like journalism or, it's a fun thing to do. You sort of need to be on top of it, of course, if there's an emergency or something that needs to be announced out there. But I would be happy to share the position or train somebody along the way. That said, I also think that we have 10 people on our board, and it's nice when, because we every other year of our 2-year term, half of the people are up for re-election, or, vacating. I mean, anybody can vacate anytime. So if there's anybody who isn't due to be, and who's has other commitments and whatever, that's fine too. They can step down and we can elect somebody to fulfill the rest of their term. But I think that it would be nice to get some more involvement with other, we have new neighbors, and I think the way to get them involved if I was not the secretary, I would still come to the board meeting. I would still attend the board meeting, and we have people who are, I mean, Nancy Colbert and Barry are always very active and haven't been on the board. And we have people who do tasks. Sunny Redmond's involved. We just have people who stay involved even though they're not a board member. It just means you can't vote on board issues. So I mean, I don't think anybody needs to like own a board position to stay involved. That's my 2 cents. So anyway, I will talk to Alexandra and see if she wants to continue. She's got a little one who is sick today, so that's why she's not here. But I think
Okay.
I still put a solicitation out to see if anybody would like to run for the board, because even though we have 5 positions and if 5 people want to run, we can also have 8, nominees,
Yeah, we can definitely accommodate that. Thank you, Casey. Rob had indicated earlier that he is okay being the chair for the Infrastructure and Ordinance Committee. It basically looks at utilities, roads, dark skies, noise, and other special projects like gravel at the mailboxes and things like that. I do appreciate that you want to continue that, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, I just
We have
might add,
welcoming. I'm sorry.
I might add something that, if the roads start getting worse and worse and worse, anybody can call down there and just request grading or whatever. And they're usually very responsive to that. And there may be a delay of a week or so, but that's something we can do. And then again, I'll look roughly at early April for getting gravel put on the post box areas. Again, after the frost and freezing dissipates. So we'll get that going again, and we'll get it organized and let everybody know.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good, because I know the one down by Monterey and Espinosa, that one is starting to get kind of muddy. Barry, you had a question?
Yeah, isn't it true that part of Weimer Road is in the county?
Yes.
Because it
Yes.
seems that when we do the grading out here, it kind of ends a little bit north or east of our place, and then from there back out to the bypass, it's non-existent. I'm just wondering if there's a way to get the whole thing done at once.
That
Annexation.
would be really good. The last time that I know that I was conversing with the city, I asked them specifically about that section of Weimer Road that is in the county, because the section from Hennings going north and then connecting right before Juniper, that is all county. That is not part of the city of Taos. So, but they had indicated that when they run the grader, that they just go ahead and do the rest of Weimer. If that did not happen, I guess we need to be more insistent that they do that, or coordinate with the county that they actually do that section, or pay each other for it, or whatever that they do. I don't know. You'd think it would just be a courtesy. They kind of hard to turn your grader around halfway down Weimer and just not do it. That to me is kind of ridiculous. But
Yeah, there's been some pretty major potholes between Juniper and the bypass that don't seem to get taken care of with the regular grading.
Yeah, that is an issue, and keep on talking to them and see if we get more response or less or whatever. Yeah, but that area right there, coming right off the bypass, that's usually very nasty. So.
Okay. Let's see here. The other committees that we have, we got the welcoming committee. Beth Hicks is the chair there. She's not present here, so I'm assuming that her.
She's going to continue. She'll continue.
She'll continue. Thank you for confirming. Reclamation and beautification. I know Pete and Susie have done a great job coordinating that every spring for the cleanup, and I would assume that they're going to do that. I could reach out. I see people pretty much every day walking miles past our house. So I could ask him and reconfirm with him that he's okay with that. Kathy Gurn is not here for the social committee, and Steve, of course, you're here for the fire preparedness committee. I know we haven't met recently, but I know that once you get done with your projects and we get kicked off in the new year, we'll reconnect. I was really, really encouraged that with all that we did, Barry's attended, Chris has attended, and myself and Peggy and Diana, that, there's a lot I think that we could and should do there, and I guess we'll tackle that in the new year and see where we can go.
Yeah, well, you have fire preparedness down in another part of the agenda, so I've got some comments on that.
Okay.
All
right.
We can talk about what has happened and what has not happened.
Okay. Let's do that then. Let's see here. The only other thing, is moving on to, I guess, priorities for 2025. And I touched on the Firewise thing a little bit, but I wanted to I guess, solicit, the board to say, or everybody, should we have more social activities than just the one social activity each year? Is that worth trying to do, whether we just have a picnic or a get together at someone's home again like we did last year? Is that something that we want to do more of or less of, or what are your thoughts, I guess? Steve?
I'd like to suggest, we're planning this March 9th meeting, and last year's meeting was such a positive experience, I think. A lot of people very much enjoyed it and a lot of good comments coming from it. It would be great if we could schedule it in a way that they're not pushing us out after we finish with the business part of the meeting. And then that we probably have a lot of people together for it and maybe have a little bit of a social. We had some refreshments, but people didn't even get a chance to eat them and they were trying to close up.
Yeah, we did.
I would second that.
Diana?
Yeah, I would second that thought because the location is already there. And the thing about the social, I wasn't able to spend very much time at the social, but I spent a lot of time helping the Duns get ready for it. And it was a big deal. It was a lot of work for them. And I don't want to speak to I don't know whether they're willing to do it again, but it's a lot of work. So I think rather than trying to convince another neighbor to do it at their place, I think if we can manage to get it together with the annual meeting, just as Steve has suggested, I think that's really optimal.
Okay, I will reach out.
I thought there was I thought that the board room, Kit Carson, I thought they restricted no food. I don't remember having food last year, but and there's no alcohol.
There
alcohol.
won't be any alcohol.
No.
My only suggestion is that we give enough time for that meeting so that there can be some socialization after the business part of the meeting. I didn't recommend that we do that in lieu of having a neighbor's house for a full-on party, because I think that's very positive as well. But having something after the annual meeting would be an additional opportunity for people to get together and know each other.
Yeah.
I think that sounds really nice too, because sometimes the difficulty of a social event is just being able to get it planned. I mean, just like put it on the books and sort of advertise it to people and know that you're going to have a draw anyway. It doesn't ever seem to work out for our schedule. So it is nice to be able to socialize with your neighbors as long as you're already in the room with them. So I think that sounds really nice. That's a nice idea.
Okay. It looked like I had a motion and a second to expand the annual meeting to include a social activity get together type thing after.
Right.
If can I just have a show of hands who all is in favor of doing that? And it looks like we're pretty much unanimous, which is great. We'll do that. We'll reach out to the social committee and see what they can help us with as far as planning what we might do for snacks or something like that. I know every other meeting that I've attended at Kit Carson, they do have snacks and refreshments and stuff at the meeting. So I really don't think that's an issue. I could go pull a contract now and take a look at it, but I can get back out to everybody as to what is possible, I guess, to do for that day. So thank you very much. This is exciting. That's a great idea. Appreciate it. Let's see here. The only other thing, I guess, getting on to the priorities for 2025. Peggy and I actually hopped in the vehicle and drove around to every road in the neighborhood. And Casey has a map that she's going to put up on the screen. And we did an inventory of the signage that's in our neighborhood, not the speed signs. The speed signs are signs that we have no control over at all. But we do have a lot of other signs in our neighborhood that the association has put up or that other folks have put up. And as soon as she gets that up on the screen, we'll
You not see
take
that?
a look at it. That is not the map. That
Oh, I'm
is
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
that is Higgins Grove, and
Oh,
Higgins
yeah,
Grove is
that's
on the other map.
sorry. Okay, hold on here.
If you don't have it, I have it.
Here we go.
But we have a number of different signs, and I guess I categorize them into 6 different categories as far as signage goes for the neighborhood, and they're all over the board. I guess it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but
Yeah, I
we
don't know
do
how to
have yeah,
unzoom this.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's actually pretty good. But we do have, of course, Z put up the 2 new signs at Higgins Grove, which is absolutely fantastic. They're really, really nice signs, and I think it's a great addition for our neighborhood. There's 2 signs, one at each end of the Higgins Grove, or used to be, I don't know if it was all Higgins Road or whatever, but that little section is now our little doggy park, and Z takes care of the doggy supplies and stuff there, and it really is a nice little addition to the neighborhood. I did reach out to the city to see, I guess there's some sort of agreement or some sort of responsibilities that FNA has assumed regarding Higgins Park, but I don't have any concrete information regarding that agreement as of this time, so I can't report anything there. But beyond the Higgins Grove thing, we have a lot of different areas on like Juniper and Weimer and just all of the roads. We have signs that say slow people and bikes. That they have pictures of bikes and people walking and so forth. They are pretty much scattered all over the neighborhood. We have signs that are labeled D, pick up after your dogs. I also put HS for pick up after your horse. And when I was doing the survey, a couple of those actually were defaced. I took the tape off of one of them, and there's still tape on another one that somebody had, put stuff on there. Don't know who or whatever, but we'll probably take the tape off the other one, and I guess we'll just see what if it gets added back on or whatever. And then we've got our neighborhood watch signs. We have small signs. I put those on the map as WS for watch small, and then WL for watch large. One thing that I did notice when I was doing the survey is that one of the WLs, which is the large sign on the corner of Espinosa and Estes Road. That sign is actually quite faded. I actually have one large sign that I think I got from Casey that was in reserve. I would suggest that I swap that sign out and put the new signage, which is very reflective and so forth there. But the one thing that I did notice is almost every entrance, other than I guess there's a WL at the corner of Weimer and what the heck is it? Weimer and Santa Cruz, actually. That there's a large sign there, but other than that, there are no other large signs in the neighborhood for site or not site watch, but neighborhood watch. And I'm just wondering if folks thought that we should maybe try to put a few more or additional large signs at the entrances to the neighborhood. That's something we'd have to coordinate with the city. So they don't like actually us putting it on speed signs or stop signs, that sort of thing. But we could reach out and see what might be available or if they would allow us to put a stake in the right of way to maybe mount a couple of new signs. Just thoughts. I guess I'm open for any suggestions. Anybody have any ideas? Yes, no, Steve?
I think if you ask the town if we can use their what are they called? U channel posts.
Yeah.
They're probably going to say no because they're supposed to say no. I think we can just put them on there and then let somebody complain if I don't know.
Steve, you had a comment?
I would suggest that it's really a good idea to put as many of these signs up as we can possibly get away with. And I think what would help all of us in this meeting is, Casey, if you could send us copies of that so we could look at it more closely. It's really hard to see on the screen.
Yeah, it is. I apologize.
And then we can maybe form a group of people who can take this on as a project. But I just think it's a really good idea that we put as much out there as we can possibly get away with, just because it is a deterrent if people, even just the perception that we're organized against crime, I think helps.
Yeah, I know. I'm fully supportive of that. If I mean, I would definitely do that if you and I want to, chat with more folks, see if we can get a couple other folks interested in doing that.
I'd be willing to be involved. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I have no issues at all. I mean, Peggy and I did the survey. I went on roads in our neighborhood that I had never been on before. And I was really surprised at how many lots seemed to be people are building on lots that I didn't even know existed on the ends of roads that I didn't even know went that far. I guess I had never really fully done that, but it was an interesting exercise to get out and actually tour every road in the neighborhood to see what's available or what was there. Casey?
So should we go ahead and make a motion to purchase the large neighborhood watch? I mean, I think the signs we're talking about replacing are the neighborhood watch ones, and preferably the big ones. I can't remember how big is, but I mean, we have an entrance on Espinosa and Estes and Weimer and Luz del Sol or Salida del Sol, and then the North Weimer. That's 5 signs and they're not cheap, those big ones, especially the metal, enamel ones. Maybe they have plastic, heavy duty plastic ones. I don't know, but if we approve or make a motion to spend how much money on or to get 5 signs, to just
I'll
move
move with
forward with
that
that?
we replace any signs that are showing significant wear. And if that's five, we can say that in this motion, and do that as soon as possible.
I
Yeah,
would
well,
second
there's
that.
yeah, we have that. Oh, okay. So we got a first from Steve and a second from Diana. I guess why don't we just raise the hands to approve that expenditure? And again, I have no idea for sure how much those signs are. They could be $50 each. They could be more than $50. I'm really not certain. Casey,
Oh,
did
I
you
was
have
just
a?
voting.
Oh, okay. You were just wondering. Okay, I did. Because I know you purchased those small little doggy signs recently. Do you have any idea how much those were? Just so we have just an inkling.
I don't know, Steve, do you remember how much I got reimbursed for? It was probably under $200, but I think there was,
Yeah,
5 dog signs and 2 horse ones,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
they weren't big. They were not big.
No,
So,
they were the little small plastic ones. And I do have some of the smaller plastic ones. I think I identified 2 of the small plastic watch signs, and I think I have 3 of them still. So I could just go ahead and replace those and replace that one that I know is faded. And so we would then have the option to place 4 additional signs at 4 additional entrances to the neighborhood, unless we decided that we needed 5 or whatever. I guess, depending upon what the cost of them are, it really don't know for sure. So I guess we have approval to look at purchasing 5 additional signs. Okay,
are you
thank
doing
you.
that? Who's doing that?
Uh, I can actually look and see what's available
I wonder if
out
there's
on
a
the
neighborhood watch site, like neighborhood
website. There
watch dot.
is.
Okay, maybe
Probably.
they
Yep,
have,
there is. I know there is.
yeah.
I just have not been out there recently
Okay.
to look
I
at that.
wasn't pushing it out. I just wanted to like, who's doing that? Action item.
Okay, that is an action item. So
Can I go
action
back and
item
ask the
1.
question, do we want to approach the town about putting them up or just put them up? I'm meeting with the assistant town manager next week, so on something else, so I could throw it out.
Sure.
Sure.
You got
I
clout.
I mean I mean it would be nice to have their blessing.
Oh, I can get his blessing.
I just
It's
don't
okay.
want them to take down our stop sign, our stop wars sign. I don't know if you guys have seen that, people who live in the other part of the neighborhood, but we have a beautiful art piece on one, I think it's cool, on one of our stop signs, just as you're leaving Santa Cruz, if you're turning onto Weimer. I mean,
Mhm.
Weimer from Santa Cruz.
Yep.
Somebody did a little art project on the stop sign that somebody had shot some holes into, and
Yeah.
they painted some helicopters, and it says stop, and then it says wars, and it's just
Mhm.
pretty cool how they did it, and it doesn't bother me, and I actually hope they don't take it away unless,
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all think.
We're certainly not going to suggest that they take it
Right.
away. I
Very
mean,
I
I
didn't
wouldn't
even notice,
suggest
and
that.
I go through that every time.
Yeah, I mean,
Go
I've
see it.
noticed it before, and I understand that I if I don't know if the city would replace it unless
Well,
somebody really complained, but I don't know
They
that
don't have
anybody
the
will.
staff to come up and see them all anyway, so they don't come up
oh,
and
Unless somebody complains. I mean, no,
right.
nobody's gonna even
Yeah.
know. So
well, they
Yeah,
have,
Okay.
I don't know any pro-war people in the neighborhood, so I think you're probably safe.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're safe.
well,
Okay.
kind of speaking of that, on that same line of neighborhood safety, something that I noticed as you're coming down Weimer, and I don't remember that we've ever spoken of it, but the building that is a medical supply or a medical building, um, like Holy Cross used it during COVID a little bit, but before that it was some sort of treatment building. It's on the north side of Weimer before.
detox
Has
center,
some
we call it.
graffiti.
Yes.
Hmm.
Man, that has been so tagged, and it just
Hmm.
looks like an invitation to come hang out or do something. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
anything.
It's been
If anybody
reported to
knows the owner.
the town owns it. It's
Oh,
being transferred to the county. It's my understanding they're going to start activating that building fairly soon. It was reported to the code official this week
Oh,
and every week for about the last couple months. So
okay.
I'm hoping with the county taking it over that they will fix it up. Um,
Any idea
soon.
what they're activating it to be
I
used
can't
as?
remember what it was. It's some sort of
Yeah, I saw that
treatment
too.
center.
Thanks for the report, Chris. That is really helpful. I would like to know what it is going to be, but I guess if the
It's a
county's taking it over,
detox facility.
it's not gonna be detox anymore, no.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, oh, you think it is? Oh, okay.
Wow.
No idea.
Okay.
All
I'll find
righty.
out when they're going to get that cleaned up for you.
All right. Thank
Uh,
you.
You.
Since
Thank
it
you.
since it wasn't used, the windows have all been broken out of it and plywood put over the windows and then graffiti over the plywood. But it's
hmm
supposedly going to be a detox or a treatment
Right.
facility.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Higgins Grove, I already reported on that already. The roads, I guess we've already touched on that. The mailbox gravel. We do need to have a report. I guess, Steve, you wanted to give an update on fireways and what your thoughts
Oh,
are there.
yeah, I'll just make a few comments. We started off with a bang. We had several committee meetings, and then in October we had a hard time finding common time frame, and then I was gone all November. So it's been not a lot happening for some time. Um, but I will report that Kurt and I and Barry ran into each other at a forestry workshop that was put on by a number of agencies involved in forestry here in northern New Mexico. And I have to admit that was really well done. It was uh, a lot of very interesting discussion. The common theme that many of the presenters, and some of these people were very professional people in their field, but the common theme was that we being the people involved with forestry, are behind, and there's really not very difficult to catch up with dealing with managing the fire potential in our forests around. Um, the situation is somewhat dangerous. I did talk to several people about the project that is happening towards the mountain above our area here. That's in the stages of planning, and there'll be some public meetings about that coming up. But basically, they're going to be trying to work around the edge of that total acreage along the roadways and along their border to minimize an impact coming into the community. Um, but it was a wonderful way to meet a lot of the people involved. Some of those folks are really interesting and dynamic folks. So the next time they have something like this, I want to make sure that the membership is aware of it and we get people out to talk to these folks. Very, very interesting. Um, the um, the only real cost sharing opportunity for landowners right now that at least I can make sense of is the Taos Soil and Water Conservation Service cost sharing program. And they have a somewhat of a cumbersome um, process for being involved. Um, the sign up, the application form is a way simple thing to do. I've turned one in for our property here on Foothills Trail, and the problem is they get your application, they take about 6 months to decide what to do with you, and then you're allowed after that to begin your treatment, quote unquote, after that, after some months after that. So there is a real time lag of when cost sharing is available. So Beth and I are contemplating giving up the potential of cost sharing just so we can put a demo project together for our community. And I don't know if we can afford it, but we're gonna, taking a hard look at it. But I think one of the big issues in terms of an organization like FNA is how to begin a real educational program for the people living in these areas. And we need to become a resource for people to come and ask questions. What do we do? How can, if they want to get involved? And then there needs to be a push to convince people who don't want to be involved, but are jeopardizing their neighbors because they aren't. And there's some real truth in that. So um, that's kind of where the committee, I think, is going to go next, is this education and outreach kind of function. And I'm hoping that we can start having more meetings more frequently than we have in the last month or so. As an aside, some personal news about me. One of my problems or my challenges in being involved in a community group like this is the responsibilities I have in our own business. And I have recently found a young man who is taking over my chair. And I think I'm going to get retired sometime first quarter 2025. So it's hard to get away from a family business, but it's closer now than it ever has been for me. And anyway, that's more information than you want, but I hope that we get this Firewise committee up and rolling. And I invite anybody who's interested to let us know so we can contact you and involve you next time we have a meeting. At our next meeting, I hope to have Grace Powell come and talk to us. She is running the office for the Taos Soil and Water Conservation Service, and she is the expert on how their cost sharing program really works. And so she'll come and talk to us. I had run on the assumption, based on what she told me a month ago, that we could go ahead and do the treatment and then apply, involve them in designing the treatment, then go ahead and do it and then be involved in the cost sharing. And she assured me yesterday that I have that wrong. I have to go through the whole rigmarole of this. And so if I do it, our treatment won't happen until sometime the latter part of 2025, which is a lot longer than I wanted it to happen. So anyway, she'll come to our next committee meeting and talk to us about all of this stuff.
Steve, a quick question. When you
Yes,
talk about treatment, are you talking about thinning of trees?
Thinning the trees is the primary treatment, and then there's also limbing up to get the ladders off the ground, and they have a criteria. They being meaning the people involved in Firewise, and that's Firewise is a term that covers a lot of different points of view. So I have to be careful depending on the agency you're talking to. I'm finding out it's everybody has their own program. And of course, the government, all these agencies, it became a hot item. So people are jumping in and with different programs, different places. And sometimes you get conflicting ideas. But in general, it's separating the trees from each other, reducing the total number of trees. Um, right now, I think it's pretty there's a common thought and an agreement, a general agreement that our area up here where we are, which is the pinon juniper mix, probably has twice as many trees than what would be long-term sustainable if we allowed lightning strikes to create the fires it's going to create and allow fire to become part of the ecology as it once was. So basically, we need to reduce the number of trees by half, and we need to be careful how we reduce it so that there's separation between trees. And that what that does is it just cools the burn when it hits an area that's been treated. The force of the fire can drop, and that's what you're after.
And of course, one of the big things, like we shared at the last annual meeting, was the safe zone around everyone's homes. As far as this far, stone, and this far, different vegetation and that sort of stuff. That's why I think we've landed on that. What we really need to do is develop an education program to convince folks that it's in their interest to mitigate their properties in a responsible way, I guess.
Absolutely, and it will take brochures, website pages, putting on seminars. It would just have to kind of beat it into people because people moved here to live in the forest.
Yeah, we had talked about potentially trying to identify some sites that are fire-wise, that have fire-wise mitigation in place, that maybe we could even tour and talk to them about their journey as to how they moved towards convincing people that it was a good idea to do. But anyway, thank you, Steve. Let's see here. Anything else that we need to discuss today? The old business. I know Alexandra, that you can give us an update. Oh, yep, Casey.
Just backtracking a little bit. If our meeting is going to be on February 9th, as we're hoping, that's less than 2 months from now. And we can always have a quickie meeting if we need to come up with agenda, but are we going to have a speaker or an agenda item other than socializing?
Jennifer?
I have a quick question. So I'm hearing half the time y'all saying February 9th, and then the other half of the time I'm hearing March 9th.
Right.
March
Is it a
9th.
February or a March?
February. We talked about February, I thought.
I thought it was March.
I was thinking March.
March.
Well, you got people were talking about
okay.
both. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page before we start making the bigger plans.
I thought we
okay.
just
March
It's going to be a long social event.
Oh, sorry. I thought that we decided February was better because we were trying to avoid the daylight savings time. Okay.
No, I think
March
we're going to
9th.
deal with
March
it.
9th.
March 9th.
Okay.
And maybe we could have it be at 2 in the afternoon or something like that to give us 2 to 5 or something like that to give us some additional time to socialize or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, I will reach out then. I guess let's just summarize it. As far as old business goes, Alexandra, she was going to provide an update. We don't need that. We have an activities page that people have been working on. Not really sure what the status of that is. It's not
That's
posted
me, and
on the website.
I'm behind. I'm behind doing that. I have a
Oh, that's
couple of-
okay. But maybe we can have an update for the annual meeting for the activities page.
Yeah, give yourself a break, Casey. You do a great job.
You
Thanks.
do. Absolutely. So I guess let's just take a look at the action items. I have Steve. He's going to take a look at a new QuickBooks subscription or some other option for us
Right.
as far as doing the accounting for the for the association.
Right.
Everyone's going to chat with others about the upcoming elections and solicit nominations for both the board and executive committees. I am going
Is that
to
worth a newsletter? A
potentially.
solicitation?
I think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
I hate to
yeah,
make work for you, Kelsey, but the general membership maybe needs to know that we're looking for board members.
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, I'll send out something. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll talk to Alexandra too to see if what her status is going to be.
Okay. I'm going to take a look at what the cost of 5 new signs, and I'm going to replace a couple of signs that I identified, I guess, during the inventory that Peggy and I did. Chris is going to, I guess, check in and look about the detox center that the county is doing, and report back as to, I guess, what they might be doing there, and also to see whether we could have some blessings to put some of our neighborhood watch signs along with some of the other existing signage that is already on posts. Otherwise, we have to, put in new posts, which would mean somebody has to, contact what is it, 411 or whatever it is to come out and, draw lines on the road so that we don't, damage any buried utilities type thing.
Right.
I am going to contract with Kit Carson for March 9th. I will probably contract from say 1 until 5, that sort of thing, to give us plenty of time to set up and take down and socialize, or maybe even make it till 6. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever that I guess they will allow us to do. And let's see. I think that is it as far as for assignments that we have.
Well,
Anybody else? Yeah, Steve.
we should put on there that I'm going to try to have a Firewise committee meeting between now and Christmas if possible.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay.
So
I
contingent upon Grace Powell being able to come to the meeting.
Okay. All right. Maybe she might be a possibility to help us talk about Firewise, or maybe we could have one of the guys that we've already had come to our Firewise meeting, sit and chat about have 15 minutes or 20 minutes on the agenda for the annual meeting too, to come in and chat about that. So a lot of good possibilities.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other business that we need to do? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Let's all raise our hands in agreement that we will adjourn. It looks like we are adjourned.